Guys, welcome to the content writing class. My name is Awal and I am your tutor for the content writing class. So basically, let's get right into it. So, what is content writing? So, content writing is a process of planning, creating, and publishing text based materials. Let me first talk about my journey as a content writer. So I enjoy writing a lot. That's just the truth. I write a lot right from when I was a kid. But when I wanted to start content writing, it was because content writing was actually a very huge niche on Upwork. They were always employing writers, so I had to develop my skill in writing. And up till now, content writing is actually one of the most profitable skills that you can learn, that anyone can learn. So right now, let's go right into it. So there are different formats of content writing. Basically, we have our blog posts, our website copy, our social media posts, our product descriptions, our email newsletters. All of these are still content. So the purpose of any content writing you find around is to inform, to educate, to persuade, and also to entertain the target audience. Basically, content writing is about communicating with a purpose. It is a foundation for building relationships with your audience and achieving your goals online. So now let's talk about it. Why is content writing? Why is it really important? When you write content, it helps to build a brand awareness and trust. It helps to also attract and convert potential customers. It helps to improve your search engine rankings. It also helps to establish thought leadership in your industry. Right now, you cannot do without content. If you want to search for something online, the first place that you go to is actually Google to search for anything. If those people had not written about those particular topics, there will have been nothing for you to read. And that is one of the reasons why it is so important. Content writing builds a loyal following and makes a lasting impact with your brand awareness. You might be even thinking, oh, why is this really so profitable? Or why am I saying content writing is profitable? Look around it. We have so many websites everywhere. For every website, they need a content writer. They need someone to write a product description, a blog post, and all of this as well. So now, before you decide on what to write, you need to understand some things. Who are you writing for? You need to define your target audience with precision. This helps a lot. You need to consider the demographics, the pain point, the goals, and online behavior. You need to also utilize some research tools and analytics to gather insights. Some of the most effective content is the content that speaks directly to your ideal reader. So I have this techniques for content writing which says that before I decide on the topic, I think about it. If I were the one that needs this particular content, what would I be searching for on the internet? What would I be typing on Google? Or what are the things that I feel like, oh, I need, and I feel like somebody would need it? For example, I'm trying to write for a motherhood blog. What are the things you think a pregnancy woman would want to know about? What are the things you think a nursing mom would know to know about at the different stages of their life? Oh, I need to know about money. What are the things I feel I need to know about money? So you think about it in your head, think about all the ideal topics that you can actually find, that you can actually think of, and then you realize that, oh, this is the best topic for me to write on. Before you write on a single word, you have to picture this person clearly in your mind. What problems do they have? What keeps them up at night? Then you tailor your contents to provide the answers that they are seeking. Also, every content that you find, they have their elements. For every content, you need to use attention grabbing headlines and introductions. Especially in this part of the world where we don't really read a lot, the headline is what makes or mar your content. Your headline is what decides that someone is going to click on the content and they are going to read it. Your headline is so important. You also need to write clearly and have well organized information. What you are writing should be informative so that the person can read to the end. Your writing should also be scannable. You use headings, some headings, bullet points at every point in time. That is because when you just write something straight, wow, most of the time people might not read it. But when you have it breakable with some headings, they can always see what explain this, what explain that, and so also using storytelling. Storytelling is so important. If you are saying something in a way, I'm saying, how can a dog eat? And then you just write it. I might not even look at it. But when I tell you, let me tell you a story of how my dog eats. it sounds more reasonable. It sounds more like something that is interesting that I might want to check out. Also, we need to use compelling calls to actions, which is telling people to take an action, which is read more, all of these things and all. The goal of every content writing is to captivate and also convert. So start with a hook and let that demands attention. Provide value at every step of your writing, and don't be afraid to let your brand's personality shine through. Always guide your reader toward a specific action, whether, oh, please share this, whether like this, make a purchase, download now. Let them know exactly what they are doing. We also have search engine optimization, which is why when you go on Google, for example, and then you are scrolling on Google, the first three pages, you can find them because they are search engine optimized. So you need to conduct keyword research to identify relevant search items. You need to strategically incorporate keywords into your content. So for example, if I want to make jollof rice, if I'm going to Google to search for that, I will type how to make jollof rice. But now you are trying to teach jollof rice and you are saying, and you're not using the topic that is related. When people go on Google, how can they find your content when it's not searchable online? So this is one of the most important parts of SEO. So you have to understand SEO as a content writer so that you can optimize your content for search engines, because this increases your visibility and it ensures that whatever content you are writing actively reaches people who are looking for the information that you are providing. So there are some key concepts of writing, which is the content writing. So we have the planning, creating, and publishing. So whatever that you want to write, before you even develop it, you have to plan it. You have to plan it, write the outline so that it will be easy and it will be like a guide for you. You know what you are writing. For example, I want to write about money. I start with definition, introduction about money. How did money, the history of money, when I'm creating my outline, types of money, how to use money, advantages of money, disadvantages of money. So when I'm now developing all of these points, I have my outline already. And then after creating my outline, which is the planning process, I go to into creating. Creating actually means writing it. And after writing, I edit and all, and then I publish it into any platform. The purpose of content writing is to inform, to educate, to entertain, and to persuade a target audience as well, and also to improve your website search rankings. Also, people use content writing to achieve business goals as well. So there are different types of content writing roles, and I'll be exploring that. We have a blog writer. So a blog writer is focused on creating informative, engaging, and conversation articles for a company or any personal blog. Some of the skills you need to have as a blog writer is to know how to tell stories, you know how to research diverse topics and understanding of the target audience. Some of the typical ways that you find a blog, right, a blog post is it will be in a long form. There will be opinion posts, tutorials, listicles, or product reviews. These are the ways you can find a blog writing. We have copywriter. Anytime you see anything that has to do with copy, it means sales. So whatever they are writing as a copywriter is meant to translate into sales. So now you're writing for sales, definitely you are trying to persuade people to buy something. And also, copywriting are usually short form to drive action. So you need to think of catchy and compelling marketing materials. Some of the skills that you need is to understand marketing psychology, ability to use concise phrase, and then strong call to actions. So where you would find copywriting is website copy, advertisements, product descriptions, email campaigns, video scripts that you can find online as well. Then we have the SEO content writer, and then the focus of this is to whatever you are writing, it has to be optimized for search engines. So you want to balance writing an informative content and also a content that is searchable on websites. Some of the skills you need to have as an SEO content writer is to understand search engine algorithms, keyword research, ability to be able to write in a natural way, but at the same time you're incorporating keywords so that people can find what you've written easily. Some of the places you find an SEO content writing is blog articles, product pages, website landing pages, and then optimized meta descriptions. We also have technical writers. So technical writers, they are in charge of explaining some complex processes, procedures, or products in a clear, easy to understand language often for tech industries, basically for tech products. Some of the skills required is to have strong technical understanding, ability to break down complex concepts, excellent attention to detail, and then clarity in writing. Some of the typical outputs is user manuals, instructional guides, API documentation, white papers, and technical reports. We also have social media content. So your focus as a social media content creator is to develop short, attention grabbing content for various social media platforms designed to build engagement and build awareness. Some of the skills you need in this aspect is to understand the different social media platforms and the voice and tone you have to use for them. You have to be very creative with visual and text. You have to be able to respond and engage with the audience. And the typical output is social media posts, captions, short videos, contests, and community management. So now let's talk about the power of words in content writing. When you are writing, you need to write very clearly and concisely. Honestly, when you are writing, less is more. Don't use, see, I have this technique that I use which says that if, for example, you remove a word totally from a writing and it does not alter or change the meaning of whatever that you are writing, you don't have to use it. It does not change the meaning. So why are you putting a lot of words? So avoid any unnecessary words or phrases. Every word that you're putting in your content should serve a function. So for example, in order to increase productivity, that in order is not needed. So to increase productivity means the same thing. So why that in order? It's just what I just finished saying now. So just leave it that way. Then simple word choice is very important. I like to say that when you're writing any content, ensure that when a 5-year-old is reading it, just understand what you are writing it. You don't have to use overcomplicated English, overcomplicated technical jargon to describe things, because not everyone that will see your content has the ability to understand some things that you've written. So you have to use like the basic English. So there are some simple word choice as well. So instead of using words like utilize, you use instead. You consider using use instead. Also, keep your sentences short and direct. Focus on what you are writing. Don't just be derailing and all. Then we have the active voice versus passive voice. So the subject of the substance performs the action, which is usually more direct. And then the passive voice, the subject receives the actions. So when you are to use passive voice is you don't have to use it, but sometimes it is appropriate. So for example, when the doer of the action is unknown or important, for example, you are saying, oh, the documents were unknown, or when to place emphasis on the receiver on an action as well. So now let's talk about the act of persuasive language in content writing. The first thing you need to do is to know your audience, what motivates them, what are their pain points, and tailor your language accordingly. Also, strong verbs. Use action oriented verbs instead for impact. When I say things like boost traffic, it is an action oriented verb. You can make a research for other object oriented verbs, but it actually improves whatever you are saying instead of you using improve traffic. Improve traffic feels like just a basic word, but when I say boost traffic, it feels like, oh, a word that will make me prompt me to take an action. Also, use of power words. You need to use power words that would evoke emotions or create a sense of urgency. Things like, oh, instantly, exclusive, discover, all of these things helps. You also need to use social proofs like testimonials, statistics. Oh, 10% of people are doing this. Oh, this is what people have to say about this thing. All of these things helps you to build credibility as well. One other thing you need to do is to understand that benefits over features. So, for example, now I'm trying to talk about a product, and I'm saying, oh, a cup, a very beautiful cup, and then I'm saying the cup is red in color. Um, the it is something something that those are just features. Features a red color. We have so many red color cups, and it will not even prompt me to take any action. But when you tell me that this cup is strong, it cannot break easily, those are the benefits. It can retain cold water for 24 hours, it can retain hot water for this number of hours. Those are the benefits. At that point, it prompts me to actually take an action. We also have headlines that grab attention. Like I've said earlier, if you are writing something and you feel like your headline is not important, your headline is the most important part, because honestly, if I'm going through your content and then Your headline is not telling me to do anything. Your headline is not prompting me to do anything. Best believe I'm not clicking on it. There are some types of strong headlines that also helps you. Some direct headlines, things like that clearly state the topic. Oh, 5 tips to do something. Questions as well are your something which asks a question, because this helps to pique curiosity as well. Then we have some benefit focused things, which is grow your audience with compelling blog posts. These ones are actually highlight value for your reader. You can also use numbers. So use numbers to offer specificity. Oh, 10 ways to do this, 20 ways to do this. It is also headlines that grab attention. Also, your effective introductions and conclusions has to be effective. For example, your introduction needs to have a hook to grab the attention. So it can be a surprising fact, a question, or a relatable anecdote that you're using it. And also set the stage. So when people go through your introduction, at that point, they're able to see exactly what your content is talking about. This is going to outline the main points that your content will cover in the first place. Also, your conclusion. Your conclusion, people can go to your conclusion to actually just see the takeaway, see everything that you've talking about in your blog post, and then we have the call to action. This is where you're telling the reader what exactly you want them to do at the end of the day. And then we have the headings, sub-headings, and bullet points for readability. So when you're writing as well, you need to break up your text. So you can break up your text with all these headings, sub-headings, and bullet points so that people can actually read through and scan through your content easily. So all these things helps you to create a visual break that prevents large walls of text. Imagine just writing 1,000 words, no break at all, no heading, no subheading. It will look very boring to read. Also, they help to guide your reader. So your heading and subheading, they just signal the changes in topic when you are writing. For example, you are writing something and then you did not put benefits. You're just reading, they may not even know what you are saying. But when you say this is the benefits, this is the disadvantages, these are the features, it helps them to understand it better. Also, to highlight key points. So bullet points are very perfect for lists or for emphasizing crucial information as well. Also, you keep it clean, use a lot of white space, a lot of leave a lot of white space in between to stop your writing from being cluttered. Also, use the right choice of fonts. So there are some easy to read fonts like the Arial, the Verdana. Use them. Then the paragraph length. So every paragraph, ensure that they are very brief, like 2 to 3 sentences, so that it is easier to read as well. So now let's talk about the breakdown of different content types. So we have our website content, and the focus of every website content is to provide clear and informative and SEO optimized. So where they use it, we have the landing pages, we have the product descriptions as well. We have blog posts, which is written for educational, entertaining, and shareable, and the format is how to's and all. We have social media, and we also have email marketing. So now let's talk about storytelling for engagement. When you're writing your content, storytelling is so important. One of the main reasons why it is really important is that it enables emotional resonance. People connect with stories on an emotional level, and it makes whatever they are writing or whatever they are reading more memorable and more impactful than you just stating a dry fact for them. Also, it helps to humanize your brand. Stories put a face to your brand, fostering relatability and trust as well. Also, stories help with social proof. So it helps you when you leverage on other people's stories to demonstrate the value that you provide as well. So when you're writing a story, we have like a elements that you need to follow. So, for example, your story starts with a protagonist. So, a protagonist is someone that your audience can identify with. Oh, I'm writing for something, for example, I try to talk about a protagonist, like that's someone the audience can identify it. Then I go into the problem or conflict, which is where I talk about the challenge my protagonist faces. So this helps to mirror my audience pain points. And then I go into the resolution. This is how my product or services helps the protagonist overcome this problem. And lastly, I go to transformation. This is how the positive change will help the protagonist experiences. So when you're incorporating storytelling into your writing as well, there are ways you can use it. For example, for a blog post, you can open it with a customer struggle, and then you structure everything you are writing around the journey to finding a solution for it. When you're using social media as well, you can share mini stories and caption showcasing the product benefits, or also create like a video series highlighting customer experiences. Also with websites, on your About Us page, you can tell your origin story and then your mission. And then your product pages to enrich with stories of how they improve lives as well. We also have email campaigns, which is a series of emails following one stories to keep your subscribers engaged as well. Then we have case studies and testimonials. With case studies, we are providing in-depth stories to showcase how a client succeed after they use your service or your products. This include data and specific outcomes. We have testimonials as well, which are very shorter than case studies, and they provide focused examples of positive experiences from customers. So you can sprinkle these across your website and social media as well. So when you're editing your blog post as well, we have some self-editing techniques, which is that you need to give your writing, give it time. You have to take a break from the writing before editing, probably for a few hours a day. What I do is when I'm writing, and I feel like I want to start editing, I don't do my editing 3 hours straight. I do it like 30 minutes break, go back, go and do things I have to do. I come back 30 minutes, do another round of editing. I go back another 30 minutes, do another round of editing till I am done totally with it. This actually allows you to have like fresh eyes and better objectivity for every time you are writing or you are reading. One other thing is you need to read aloud. So when you are reading aloud, it helps you to actually catch awkward phrasing and then the flowing of sequence. Also, when you are self-editing, you need to focus on one thing at a time. You don't want to be editing, for example, you are checking for punctuation and at the same time you are checking for grammatical or spelling errors. That is not it. What you do is to focus on spelling first, even if it's 1,000 pages. Go through the spelling and ensure that all the spellings are correct, all the spellings are accurate, and then you now come back into grammatical error, check for grammars at that point, and then lastly you could check for spelling errors and you check for spellings at that point. Also, checklists. You can develop a checklist to for common editing weaknesses as well. So some of the best practices for also proofreading your content is that slow and steady. So when you focus, it prevents careless mistakes. So when you are editing each line, read each sentences individually. Don't try and edit all together. Don't try and proofread all together. Also print it out. So sometimes probably you've written something on your screen and then you have it there. When you actually change it and print it out on a paper, it actually helps you to spot more errors. I used to tell people writing is easier because you are using Google to make your research and all. But at the point that you get to editing, that is where the major work is, and that is what makes or mars your content. Also, read backwards. So, focusing on individual words also helps you to catch typos and misspellings. Also, ask for help. Ask for a third party person to actually help you to check something. One thing I can assure you is that when somebody helps you to check something with a fresh pair of eyes, it can help them to it can help them to spot errors easily. Also, you might be thinking, what are some of the online writing tools that we have? So we have Grammarly. Grammarly can help you to check for your grammar. It helps you to suggest edits for clarity and also to change your tone of your writing. We have Hemingway Editor as well. This one helps you to focus on identifying complex sentences, adverbs, and readability. We also have Pro Writing Aid, which offers in-depth analysis, style suggestion, and overused word detection. It helps you to check it. We also have Readable. It also helps you to access content readability using scoring systems like Fleshkin Guide. So I like to say that all these tools are very useful. All these tools would help you. But one thing is that it should never replace yourself as an human judgment. So what I do with tools is that after I've gone through all of these processes of reading aloud, giving a third party, I only use tools to actually cross check at that point. Because remember, even your tools can make a mistake. And then that is the end of this content writing basics. I hope you've learned one or two things from it. If you learned something, drop a comment. And if you'd like me to explain any parts of this, you can drop a comment and I'll be glad to do that. See you. Bye.